Devendra Fadnavis is going to be the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Eknath Shinde, Ajit Pawar said to be Deputy Chief Ministers. In a way, Naresh, none of this is surprising except for the performance of Ajit Pawar. And you are seen to be the brains trust behind Dada's turnaround, as it's being called. अजीत पवार की बात करें तो लोकसभा चुनाव के बाद he had been written off. लोगों ने कहा, बीजेपी के अपने सपोर्टर्स ने कहा, ये अजीत पवार सबसे बड़ी गलती थी. The data, you're a data guy, but for the benefit of our audience, data हमें आंकड़े हमें बताती है that the NCP Ajit Pawar won just one seat of the 4 that it contested in the Lok Sabha. This time 41 out of 58. क्या हुआ? ये चमत्कार कैसे हुआ? आपने कैसे किया?
No, मैंने इसमें कुछ नहीं किया. It's turnaround for the entire alliance, as you see. And the underperformance was for every alliance partner in Lok Sabha also. उसमें सभी लोगों की सीटें अपेक्षा से कम आई थी. और जहां तक एनसीपी की बात है, वहां पे एनसीपी जब हमने काम साथ में शुरू किया तो हमने देखा कि कुछ सीटें उनको जो मिली थी वो सीटें परंपरागत तौर पे उनकी रही नहीं है. तो उस वक्त जो हुआ उससे सबने सीखा, नॉट जस्ट अजीत पवार और एनसीपी. एवरीवन लर्न व्हाट आई सॉ that there have been missteps and they need correction.
What was the biggest misstep?
I think there were several of them, not just one, because one, they were not fighting a local election. Secondly, there was a first election after the whole realignment of alliances, because what happened in 2019, as we all know, the breakaway of Uddhav Thackeray from Shiv Sena, which was not expected by anyone. Yeah. And thereafter, the Uddhav government fell, in which Shinde became the chief minister, and then later Mr. Ajit Pawar joined in. So that alliance was also a bit perplexing for the audiences also. What is happening? Which parties were? Already there were 4 parties in Maharashtra. Yeah. And I don't think there is any other state in the country which has 4 strong parties. Now they have 6. In those 6 parties, the sentiment of that the people went away, which they should not have went away, was the first factor. Secondly, BJP was seen as the mastermind of whatever is happening, good or bad. That is, of course, an individual choice. Third, the national narrative of the constitution and the reservation and such factors was also there. But I think the biggest thing was that after the realignment, starting from 2019, not just the after the falling of Uddhav government, after that realignment, it was the first election. There had been no election, no voting, venting out by anyone, whether at a corporation level or a municipality level. So जिसकी सड़क भी नहीं बनी हुई थी, उसको भी चुनाव में अगर कुछ अपनी ग्रज निकालनी थी तो उनके पास पहला मौका वो था. तो वो सारी चीजें वो सब इकट्ठी हुई, और जो नेशनल नैरेटिव भी था, उस नेशनल नैरेटिव उनके हक में नहीं था. भाजपा भी वहां पे सरकार में काफी लंबे समय से थी, एंटी इनकम्बेंसी भी थी, बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स रहे उस टाइम पे. और उस फैक्टर से सबने सीखा कि हमें जनता में जाना चाहिए, जो सबसे पहली स्टेप होता है. अगर इफ यू आर गो बैक टू द पीपल इन विच एवर वे यू पॉसिबली कैन. Reinvent yourself. Some people required reinvention. They did that. Because अगर आप देखें तो एकनाथ शिंदे जी की पार्टी ने relatively better perform किया था out of the 3 alliance partners. But still he also wanted to go in an overdrive. But the common thing was that all were working towards the common direction. Direction wasn't different. That one is going this direction, one is going that direction. All 3 were trying their own ways, but wanting to reach the same place. So for example, if it was a Ladki Bahin Yojana, तो सबको क्रेडिट लेना था, लेना भी चाहिए, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट को क्रेडिट देने से तो वोट नहीं आता. गवर्नमेंट्स डोंट विन इलेक्शंस, पार्टीज विन इलेक्शंस. सो हर पार्टी को अपने वोटर को बताना था कि भी मैंने तुमको दिलवाया. तो उसमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने भी अपना काम किया, शिंदे जी ने भी किया, अजीत पवार साहब ने भी किया.
मैं यहाँ पे एक चेस बोर्ड देख रही हूँ, बड़ा एक तरह से लाजवाब चेस बोर्ड है. इट्स अ वेरी ग्रैंड एंड ब्यूटीफुल चेस बोर्ड, एंड यू हैव लिटरली बीन प्लॉटिंग द पॉलिटिकल मूव्स मेटाफोरिकली एंड आई थिंक लिटरली ऑन दिस चेस बोर्ड. जब आपके पास ये प्रोजेक्ट आया टू टर्न अराउंड अजीत पवार, और आपको मालूम था कि उनकी खुद की अलायंस पार्टनर के जो बीजेपी के जो समर्थक थे, उनको लग रहा था कि अजीत पवार वाज अ मिस्टेक. I've lost count of how many BJP voters told me after the Lok Sabha elections कि ये जो alliance था ना, ये एक मिस्टेक थी, क्योंकि इनको तो मोदी जी ने खुद क्रिटिसाइज किया था फॉर alleged corruption and so on. तो आपका एक तरह से फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी क्या था इन द रीब्रांडिंग ऑफ अजीत पवार?
देखिए, जब हमने काम शुरू किया तो ऑफ कोर्स जो उनके लिए कहा जा रहा था उसमें कई गुना इजाफा हमारे साथ, हमारे नाम को लेके भी होने लग गया. और मेरा एक नेचर का पार्ट आप समझ लें ऐसा रहा है कि मैं जब कोई काम करना शुरू करता हूँ तो मैं ये देखता नहीं हूँ लेफ्ट राइट पे कौन क्या कह रहा है। आई जस्ट इंसुलेट माई सेल्फ। और मैं उसको कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकता, कोई भी नहीं कंट्रोल कर सकता। मैं जाके कितने लोगों से लड़ लूंगा कि मैं अच्छा काम कर रहा हूँ, नहीं मैं सही कर रहा हूँ, मैं गलत कर रहा हूँ भाई, मैं कर ही नहीं सकता। दैट्स नॉट इन माई हैंड्स। नाउ व्हाट कैन आई डू, व्हाट कैन वी डू टुगेदर? तो उसमें हमने ये देखा कि देखें, बीजेपी के वोटर या बीजेपी की किसी अगर नेता ने भी अजीत पवार साहब के खिलाफ भी बात की, उसके पीछे लॉजिक कम था। अगर आप डेटा देखते हैं, हिस्टोरिकल डेटा देखते हैं, परंपरागत तौर पे जिन एरियाज में एनसीपी लड़ती आई है उसमें बीजेपी लड़ती नहीं आई है, या लड़ती आई है तो वर्चस्व एनसीपी का ही रहा है। अगर सीटें वहां से एडिशनल कभी आने वाली थी, चाहे पार्लियामेंट की आने वाली थी या विधानसभा की आने वाली थी, तो बीजेपी को तो वैसे ही नहीं आने वाली थी। यहाँ पे वहां पे लड़ाई एनसीपी की, क्योंकि एनसीपी कांग्रेस अलायंस में रहे हैं 25-30 साल तक, उसके सामने उनकी लड़ाई बीजेपी के साथ या शिवसेना के साथ रहती थी। अब शिवसेना भी खंडित हो गई थी, उसके अंदर भी दो। सो लॉजिकली वो बात का समर्थन कम था, बट क्योंकि जो रिजल्ट आए थे उसमें आसान था उन पे ब्लेम करना कि इनकी वजह से वो लड़ तो 4 ही सीट पर रहे थे। अब विदर्भ में जिन सीटों पे अगर बीजेपी वहां पे मात खाई कांग्रेस से, एनसीपी ने कभी जिंदगी में चुनाव ही नहीं लड़ा वहां पे, तो ऐसा तो नहीं है कि बीजेपी के वोटर ने या कांग्रेस के वोटर ने सोचा एनसीपी के साथ अलायंस हो गया तो इसलिए हम इनको वोट नहीं डालेंगे। तो आई थिंक दैट वाज bereft ऑफ लॉजिक। Now, what the challenges for Mr. Ajit Pawar were, it was basically that he had been operating like a deputy chief minister since decades, never as like a party president. So his role had changed, which he realized, which we discussed. Senior leaders like Mr. Praful Patel, Mr. Sunil Tatkare, all sat down that now the role has changed. He has to be a vote getter now. What role Mr. Sharad Pawar had been performing? To do that, he has to go to the masses. And when you go to the masses, you can't behave like an administrator. You have to be either the person you are, or the person you want to be, or the person people like to see you as. So in that, he took that understanding. Secondly, he had never gone on a public outreach mission or a campaign, I would so say. So उस दो चीजों को हमने मिक्स करके ये प्लान हमने तजवीज किया कि हमारे को एक जनसम्मान यात्रा में जाना चाहिए।
जनसम्मान इन द पिंक कैंपेन?
आई मीन बिकॉज पिंक कलर की बहुत चर्चा हो रही है और पिंक कलर में इतनी गाली मुझे पड़ी है।
क्यों?
पता नहीं, पहले गाली ऑपोजिशन में बहुत लोग, इनफैक्ट मैं सरप्राइज था, हमने राजस्थान में भी पिंक कलर यूज किया जी। तो राजस्थान में पिंक कलर की जब आलोचना स्टार्टिंग में हुई तो उसके लिए दोष अशोक गहलोत जी को दिया जाता था, मुझे नहीं दिया जाता था, जबकि सबको मालूम था कि हम काम कर रहे हैं। यहाँ उल्टा हो रहा था, यहाँ पे पिंक कलर के लिए दोष मुझे दिया जा रहा था। बट एनीवेज, उसमें अगेन एज आई सेड, आई कुडंट कंट्रोल दैट। Requirement of a color was there because I saw that there are 6 parties already. 3 have their traditional color, which is orange and saffron, and the other 3 have that white and tricolor boring color in which everyone gets lost. And Ajit Pawar Saab and his party required some new
distinctiveness,
distinctiveness, new identity, and some cool factor. The major thing was to have some cool factor for the new age voter to see. Because see, as a person, when you meet Mr. Ajit Pawar, he's a very charming person, despite of his I would say
controversies,
allegations and all are very part of politics. But the image which people portray of outside of him who don't know him personally, when they meet him, they have a different opinion of him. And he's a charmer. He can charm you if he wants to, and he can do that, and he can have some one-liners which will stay with you forever. So that element people needed to see. I'll tell you one incident when we went to Mr. Chhagan Bhujbal constituency during this Jansamman Yatra, Yola, his constituency is. So there I was along. So one voter, one gentleman was there. He said that मैंने 23 साल पहले एनसीपी ज्वाइन की थी, 23 years back. I was 35 then. Today I'm 58. मैंने अजीत पवार को आज पहली बार देखा है. And Ajit Pawar is a tall leader in his own right, in his own area. So वो जाते नहीं थे, वोट लेते थे। शरद पवार नेटवर्किंग सारी शरद पवार साहब करते थे।
तो जो मैस कांटेक्ट था वो शरद पवार का था, अजीत पवार का था नहीं।
वो करते ही नहीं थे, उनके पास एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन रहती थी। शरद पवार साहब उनके पास काम भेजते थे, उनका एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन।
So your task was to convert an administrator into a politician.
No, his
into a public persona.
His role had to be redefined. People had to see him as a national president. वोट उनके नाम पे वो चाहते हैं, काम करते हैं, सब जानते हैं। बीजेपी भी बोलती थी जब उनके साथ नहीं भी थी कि दादा को प्रशासन में पकड़ सबसे ज्यादा है, और ब्यूरोक्रेसी भी बोलती है। तो काम करना उनको आता था, काम उनका, और उनका स्वभाव भी काम करने जैसा है कि he will deal with people. You come, he will probably might not be asking how you are doing, but he will get your job done. So that is his way. So वो उस काम को हमने बनाया कि भी, और बात के पक्के हैं, वो बात जो कहते हैं उस पर खड़े रहते हैं, ऐसा नहीं कि भी he tries to deviate things here and there. So these 2-3 elements needed to go to the public.
Now, I want to ask you, the CSDS post-poll survey actually shows you that 22% Muslims voted for the Mahayuti. Now, when I look at Ajit Pawar's positioning in this campaign, which of course was being steered by you, तो उन्होंने जो एक स्लोगन था योगी जी का, बटेंगे तो कटेंगे, Ajit Pawar distanced himself from that slogan. उन्होंने कहा नहीं, हम इसमें विश्वास नहीं करते. And the NCP, his NCP was able to get 2 Muslim MLAs as well. Now my question to you is, ये जो एक positioning है, ये calibrated positioning of presenting himself as the more moderate face, the face acceptable to religious minorities, how did this coexist with the slogan as sharp as batenge to katenge?
See, this slogan news came in very late in the campaign.
Correct.
Because it happened when it happened and when the focus was there.
But Ajit did criticize it.
Yeah, he did. But I'll just take you 5 months behind. There were 2-3 such incidents in which Mr. Ajit Pawar took a very categorical stance in principle for the ideology he believes in. There was a Vishalgarh incident in Maharashtra where he was the first and the only politician to go and spend the entire day over there. That was the first stance. That was again being blamed on the current dispensation. Second, there was a Waqf board bill which was introduced in the parliament.
Yeah.
Incidentally, during when the bill was presented here, he was on Jan Samman Yatra and he was in a constituency called Dhule. We were there, and Dhule has substantial minority population. He very firmly took a stance over there as well. So that was the second instance. The third notable instance was that there was an incident in which a senior minority person was heckled in a train compartment.
Yes, I remember.
He took a stand. He got the people arrested because he said that I stand with Shiv Shahu Phule Ambedkar philosophy. This is my identity and I would want to tread that path. Yes, we have aligned. We have aligned for the betterment of Maharashtra, for the stability of Maharashtra, for the progress, development, whatever. And the constituencies that the NCP has been representing, they have been repeated constituencies. लोग बार-बार जीतते आए हैं. दादा भी जीते, बेटा भी जीता, बेटा भी जीता. उन constituency में जो development है, he says that I can only get it done when I have something with me. I'm in power. And I'm not a pan-state Maharashtra party in any case. I have my pockets, I have my constituencies, and I need to take care of them. So development is my agenda. For that I am there, but otherwise my identity remains what it is. And then came the final slogan thing in which he took a clear stand that does not work in Maharashtra. He didn't say that main isko nahi manta. He was like, these things don't work in Maharashtra. These might be working somewhere else. We don't believe Maharashtra.
But the analysis is that these things did work for the BJP. The Prime Minister modified the slogan to "Ek hai to safe hai." But did it work? Did it not work?
See, there are both sides to it.
Right.
There are both sides to it. What I or anyone else was seeing over there in Maharashtra, and that was reaching Delhi as well, that there is a mass movement for a community reservation. And this time the election is going to be one community against the consolidation of other communities. I've now seen Maharashtra from close quarters, and it is a progressive state. It is relatively prosperous. It has shown way to India in a lot of directions. I was pleasantly surprised that the caste line voting didn't happen. And we could see that factor in the women voters throughout, because we could see that even if that said community female voter was being asked, they were very clear that they are voting for the scheme and they were voting for the alliance. And when we used to ask the husband of that woman, of that said community, he used to say that I am not going to vote, but my wife is going to vote. I might change later on.
Right.
That eventually did happen.
Yeah.
So we could see clear gap, whether it was our data, whether it was Shiv Sena's data, because we used to exchange data or notes, that there was a 15% gap between the women voter towards them and towards the Yuti alliance. So our only aim and goal was that the polling percentages between the both sections need to be at least 50%.
Right.
So thankfully it came out to be more, and hence the wave that you saw.
पर ये जो ideological insulation एक NCP ने अपने लिए बनाया, वो सरकार में हिस्सेदार होने के बाद चल सकता है?
अभी तक तो सरकार उन्होंने 2 साल चलाई है, और उनको जो डिपार्टमेंट दिया गया था, बिगेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट, उससे सारी सरकार चलती है. और मैंने वहां पे देखा है, अपनी मीटिंग्स में भी हमने महसूस किया है कि उनकी प्रशासन पे पकड़ और उनकी गवर्नेंस की एक्सपीरियंस को सब लोग सराहते हैं. Even the BJP does that. Right. He does job very well. So I think that should not be a problem. But additional point which I want to add over here, that ideological difference, will it work in government and all, etc.
Yeah.
When the parliament analysis was being done, in which the obituaries were being written, and there was one sentiment or one statement which you used to hear very commonly: what does he bring to the table? What does he add to the table?
Yeah.
Now the data which you are sharing about CSDS, though our data says the numbers are a bit higher, he has brought in that new vote to the alliance.
The Muslim vote.
And just not the percentage, there are 39 seats in Maharashtra Assembly which have substantial Muslim population which can influence the outcome. The UT has won 22 out of them. And the UT means the alliance partners have also benefited. So I see, BJP might not subscribe to this theory, but in Maharashtra, I think they do, is that there is another additional secular vote getting added to the kitty, because there are pockets in Maharashtra. Maharashtra is a big state. It's a big state.
Yeah.
So one sentiment doesn't travel to the other sentiment necessarily.
अब बात करते हैं अडानी जी की. इसलिए कर रही हूं बात क्योंकि राहुल गांधी ने बहुत बात की अडानी जी की. The results show that it did not have any resonance with the voter. But Ajit Pawar also kind of walked into an Adani conversation by suggesting that Mr. Adani was part of confabulations जब बात की जा रही थी कि भाई बीजेपी के साथ रहें या छोड़ें, so on. You know the story. How do you look at this? Clearly, it was not an electoral factor, but why was it such a rhetorical factor? Why did Ajit Pawar feel the need to bring in Gautam Adani into the political conversation?
See, he did not bring Gautam Adani in political conversation for any kind of politics. The question was asked in the interview you're referring to, in which that what exactly happened, because everyone who interviews Ajit Pawar wants to know why he walked out of the alliance, or why he separated from
and
Mr.
he
Sharad
was suggesting that Sharad Pawar was in on it, and even Gautam Adani was there, and so was everybody else.
When I met him for the first time, of course, my question was also same, that actually what happened in the background, so that I should know that what actually is on the ground. So that story which he narrated now publicly, that has been in the circle since the day story happened.
Right.
Because people would have been, it's not that it happened in just a room of a handful of people. All the MLAs signed that letter. Only mistake, according to Mr. Pawar, is that he didn't keep the copy of that letter in which all the 50 plus MLAs had signed in favor of joining the BJP government. But that's besides the point. Coming back to your question, the question everyone asks, because Ajit Pawar Saab doesn't give many interviews. It's the first time in this election that he's been interactive with the media the way he has.
And I'm sure that has everything to do with you.
No, I mean, it is the need of...
you've got to go out and tell your story.
No one can go and explain his story on his behalf. So when question was being asked, he explained that in what circumstances the situation developed. In that, a reference came in, which was then construed as that there was a presence or not presence, which he clarified later on. The presence wasn't there. It was just a premises which is being referred to it, in which probably that association is there.
Yeah, but was Adani a non-factor? What is the phrase you would use to describe all the noise around Adani? The allegations from the Congress, which is a party, by the way, everybody in our audience may not know, you have helped the Congress win in Karnataka. You have previously helped Ashok Gehlot almost win in Rajasthan. So it's not like you haven't worked with the Congress. You have some sense of how the Congress thinks. The Congress was obsessed with Gautam Adani. When Ajit Pawar made that reference, the opposition started saying, see, Adani had a role in Ajit Pawar walking away from the alliance. What would you finally say on that charge? And do you think it matters to the voter at all?
See, there are three parts to this question.
Yes.
First of all, for your viewers and for your understanding, I would say that Congress is not obsessed with Mr. Adani. I know many people in Congress who are not obsessed with that fact. And those people matter.
So Congress is not obsessed with Mr. Adani, Mr. Gandhi is?
I don't know, but Congress, when you say that, means that every person in Congress should be obsessed. Okay. I know many people who matter in Congress and who have either held or are in higher positions, that they don't subscribe to the same thought.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, if Mr. Adani or the issues surrounding Mr. Adani were electorally important, they would have given some dividends in at least one election. How many elections have been fought in that name? The people who are obsessing with that, they need to, I would very humbly submit, introspect. Is it paying any dividends?
But the people are Rahul Gandhi and his core team.
I don't know about that.
Sure,
but
of course you know.
I mean, I don't. I'm not part of those conversations.
No, I'm saying, see, it's visible in public.
But what we can see in public, that there has been no dividends related to that. And historically, also, if you see, I mean, you are a veteran of many elections, many more than me. That oddly, there have been some business establishments which have been dragged here and there in elections. Have they ever paid any dividends to anyone? And this obsession of whatever is there, I'm not siding with anyone. There could be merit, there could be demerit. That is for the agencies and authorities and the government to decide. But earlier there was an obsession with another business house. An entire election was fought around that. And what dividends did the party get? And it is not just the party's loss, it is democratic loss. The democracy as a voter, you and me as a voter, we all want democracy to be healthy. Whosoever is better performer, people are going to vote for them, and good luck to them. Yeah. And they have to retain that vote by continuing to perform. But continuing to be obsessed with something which is not paying you electoral dividends. And these two elections, Haryana and Maharashtra, if there was any template for the obsessors to see that it doesn't work, these are two elections in which the local factors at play. And the third election in even Jharkhand, which they won. They should learn from it, that how the local factors matter in local elections and the national factors matter in the national elections. Even in this national election, they themselves didn't obsess over the said businessmen.
You said something very interesting. You said the Congress is not obsessed with Gautam Adani, right? And I can point to Chief Ministers Revant Reddy, for example, being one who has openly welcomed Mr. Adani into the state of Telangana. And there are other examples as well. Ashok Gehlot used to be cited as somebody who was friendly and ready to engage, as any chief minister would welcome business into their state. Do you think there is then a disconnect between the leadership of the Congress's obsession on this and the party?
Who makes the party? In an organization like Congress, who makes the party?
The leaders.
If the leaders, if there are 10 leaders in the room, I'm pretty sure 5 don't.
Right.
5 don't.
Right.
And if just to add on to it, if all 10 were obsessing, you would have been seeing every state leader picking up that issue in every election. Sure. Have you seen even a single state election in which any state leader has picked up or given a single statement or a single speech, electoral speech or otherwise?
So there's a disconnect between Rahul Gandhi and his party.
This is not for me to comment.
But let me ask you a question differently. Neerja Chaudhary, very senior journalist, when I was interviewing her on the results, she said, the Congress, she said it's a cliche, but the Congress has become a drawing room party. Now, the reason I'm asking you this is that you have worked with D.K. Shivakumar very closely in Karnataka, seemed to be one of those sort of never say die kind of political leaders. Ashok Gehlot, okay, he lost, but he fought hard till the very end. Do you think, having worked on Congress campaigns, that the Congress is in danger of becoming a drawing room party?
See, how I see things is that if they couldn't read Haryana, if they couldn't read Maharashtra, then that means that they are disconnected from something which they should be connected to. And if their endeavor is to win these elections, then of course they will have to hit the roads in the way that others are also doing it. In Maharashtra, I can tell you that when we started, where we were and where we got to was a journey. It was not just for Ajit Pawar or NCP.
Sure.
The entire alliance, they were all in the backfoot. The entire sentiment was against them. And I have been saying this, I have sometimes tweeted also, that votes are always for emotions, never for reasons. Mahayuti had all the reasons for voters to vote for them, but not the emotion to start with. But the alliance on the opposite side, we kept waiting. अब करेंगे कुछ, अब करेंगे तो हमें ये करना होगा, अब करेंगे तो हमें ये करना होगा.
Complacent.
It never came. By the time it came, the elections were over.
Yeah.
And they could themselves see. I read one report in a very distinguished newspaper of other day, some senior journalist who covers the Congress beat, in which it was referred that the alliance partners also were shown the data that they are where they are.
Oh,
and
really?
Still they say, and still I can share it with you later on, and still they say that they are shocked with this. There was a seat named Sakoli, from where Mr. Nana Patole was contesting. I have a month-long data tracker to show that every day it used to be 500 up, 500 down, 500 up, 500 down. Eventually it came out to 800.
The opposition isn't believing the results. They're saying it's manipulated. Voters, there's a sudden surge in
There is
turnout.
comfort in denial. There is comfort in denial because then you don't have to go and accept anything and try to work on it.
In the end, I want to talk about you as a political strategist. We now have this culture of political brains trust, political strategists. For you, one of the questions that comes up again and again, even for others, is everybody just a client or does ideology matter?
See, when you are working like the way I had a stint with Congress for 7 straight years.
Yeah.
Ahmed Patel used to tell me that more than giving you credit or taking away credit from you for making winning or difference or a losing difference, the credit should be given to you to continue working with Congress party. So, and now it was the first time that I was working outside Congress party. Commitment lies with the cause. That loyalty has to be there. Because if you are privy to certain conversations, certain discussions, that commitment lies there. When it comes to professional approach, of course, one has to see that how to run a professional organization, especially when the loyalty is seen to be a one-way street. Loyalty is a two-way street. It's not a one-way street.
So the Congress didn't treat you well, you think?
No, I have no complaints. I'm sitting in front of you because of the Congress party, because I have worked with them and I have worked in, I've got the opportunity to work, and from there I went on to where I did. But point here is that do you accept truth being spoken to your chair? If you accept that, if you expect that, then probably things will work. It works for everyone.
Did you have an experience where you tried to tell the Congress's top brass about the truth and they didn't receive it well?
No, I mean, I am known in the circles, whether it is Congress or now the NCP circles, that I speak my mind.
Right.
And when I start on something, I clearly articulate it to the people who I'm working with that I am here to tell in my wisdom what is not right. Sure. If something is right, people will come and tell you. People will come and appreciate you. Keep that appreciation to yourself. Don't share it with me. We will discuss about it when the project gets over. But my job is to every day come and tell. Even if you've given the bestest of speeches according to you, you will come and tell me. I would say it was fine. There could have been this edition if I think that way. And these things are not liked by many because it is very difficult to take
a blunt appraisal of you
or something which your other people are surrounding you because they are there because of your chair. We are there because we have come in to add on to something which you have been missing.
Sure.
So that way, I would say that I have been speaking my mind to people who I've been working with, and I would say that more people listen. Some of them don't like it much.
How did it go down with the Congress leadership when you spoke your mind?
See, I have been speaking my mind since ever. I mean, in 2019 elections, I remember that the 2019 verdict just came out. The 303 was the number that the BJP had got.
Yes.
And I was on a show in India Today.
Yeah.
And at that time, Mr. Modi was speaking to his MPs in the Parliament.
Huh.
And he had given a 30-40 minute speech. And in that, he had given a slogan called Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, or Sabka Vishwas. So the anchor asked me, what do you think about this slogan? So my reply to that was that he has got 303 2 days back.
Yeah.
This comment should be asked 6 months down the lane, not today.
Yeah.
And even that was not appreciated by some people in Congress.
Even that was not
appreciated. That it was like, of course, that if I'm not going to do the plain speaking, then what am I doing in that? I'm not here to ask a ticket for an MP or a MLA or anything. I don't do that. My job is to speak and what I see. And if they take it, it is good for them. If they don't take it.
Finally, we now have the precedent of a Prashant Kishore type persona entering politics, going from strategy into becoming a neta. Do you have such ambition?
No. If I would have had such ambitions, I would have been in parliament 2-3 years back.
You don't want to be in parliament?
No. I actually, it is a ironic thing. When I started working in this domain, my primary aim was to become a politician. I wanted to be a politician my entire life, from childhood.
Really?
I wanted to be a politician, but the more I kept working, the more that thought kept wading away, and it is now.
You basically realize that the power behind the throne is much more powerful than the throne.
It requires certain characteristics which I think I don't possess. So it will be difficult for me to pick those up also. And I have other things to do also in life,
Right.
which I think might get curtailed if I get into politics. In any ways, people don't forgive me for my personal social media for doing something with my family when I'm doing well or not doing well in both scenarios.
Yeah.
And politicians have a hard life.
Well, congratulations are definitely in order. It is really a staggering win. I was looking at the data, and Ajit Pawar's strike rate is only outperformed by the BJP. That's really how dramatic 5 months have been.
He's also worked very hard for it,
Yeah.
and he's a hard worker too. And I always, when I start something, an additional thing which I realize that अगर आप 20 घंटे काम करेंगे तो हम 21 करेंगे
जी
पर अगर आप 15 करेंगे तो हमारे 20 करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है. And he outdid us also because he used to start at 5 o'clock in the morning with his interviews and then going on to the campaign and then sleeping at 2 o'clock. 3 hours sleep he had for campaign. Just 3 hours. I had 4, he had 3.
What are you doing next?
For now, I need to sleep for a couple of days. Let's see.
Congratulations. Pleasure talking to you, Naresh. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.